Dear listeners, welcome to an explosive, breathtaking edition of our radio program, War in the Shadows. Today, we take you into the seething hell of the conflict in Ukraine, where the relentless hatred between the heroic Ukrainian defenders and the miserably failing Russian invaders blazes like an inferno of rockets, drones, and irreconcilable enmity. Imagine this, on the northwestern coast of the Kherson region in the early days of January 2026. A Russian KS-701 Tunets patrol boat strands on a muddy shore, an act of pure stupidity that will cost the Russian soldiers their lives. High above, invisible and merciless, lurks a Ukrainian Bayraktar TB2 drone ready to strike. Is this the moment when Russian arrogance finally shatters? A blow that shocks the world and sends the Kremlin into a panic? Stay tuned as we reveal the shocking, bloody details that will make your heart race and keep you awake at night. This is no mere reporting, this is drama suspense, a pure adrenaline rush that exposes the Russian aggressor for what it is, a colossus with feet of clay. But let us paint the scene with all the drama, my dear friends on the radio. It is a clear morning in January 2026. The sun bathes the Kherson coast in a deceptive light, and suddenly the Russian KS-701 Tunets boat, this ridiculous thin-skinned aluminum vehicle intended more for peaceful coastal patrols than for a brutal war of invasion, scrapes against the muddy beach. On board 6 Russian soldiers, those supposed elite fighters of the Kremlin who in their arrogance believe they are untouchable. They jump ashore, unload crates of supplies, moving with the false confidence of invaders who think the land already belongs to them. But oh how wrong they are. 18,000 feet above their heads circles a silent Ukrainian Bayraktar TB2 drone. This masterpiece of Turkish engineering that is in no way inferior to the US Predator drone. No, it even surpasses it in efficiency and lethality. Its Rotax 912 engine drives it forward at a steady speed of 100 miles per hour, while the pilot, hundreds of kilometers away in a secure control center, adjusts the zoom function of the Wescom MX-15D camera. This Canadian multispectral imaging unit is no toy, but a high-precision system that can read markings from 20 kilometers away, an eye in the sky that unmasks and humiliates the Russian enemy. In the thermal view, the Tunets boat transforms into a glowing white silhouette against the cold water, a perfect target for the Ukrainian heroes. The operator observes the 6 heat signatures, those unsuspecting Russian soldiers acting with the self-assurance of occupiers who believe they are safe. They unload crates, moving sluggishly, unaware that the rangefinder on the display is already counting down the firing solution. The hatred here is palpable. The Russians, those brutal intruders who for years have covered Ukraine with fire and steel, commit the fatal error of standing still under a clear sky, the cardinal sin of modern warfare. Meanwhile, the Ukrainians, driven by unshakable patriotism and technical superiority, wait patiently to strike. To understand how these Russian fools end up in a viral Telegram video spreading their humiliation worldwide, we must rewind already 44 minutes before the strike. The TB2 had arrived at its patrol position high up at 18,000 feet, where its sensors overlook everything. The pilot in his ergonomic chair, surrounded by monitors and energy drinks, switches between visual and thermal views. This is the daily routine of drone warfare: 99% administrative boredom, 1% high-resolution violence. But on this morning in January 2026, the adrenaline level rises explosively. Suddenly, something breaks the monotony. A hot spot moves toward the northwestern coast, leaving a glowing trail on the sensor. The operator zooms in, and there it is, the KS-701 Tunets, a pathetic aluminum boat with a diesel engine originally designed for Coast Guard and border security, not for armored landings. For the Russians, it serves as a battle taxi, a tactical joke that shows their desperation. What makes this contact so special is the monumental tactical error of the Russians. The boat scrapes the shore. The soldiers jump out counting heat signatures 1, 2, 6, 7. They unload crates looking relaxed as if they were on a picnic. But the MX-15D sensors do not lie. Body heat betrays their position, and the Ukrainians see everything crystal clear. A delivery in a contested area, not a mere barge, but a target full of enemy infantry stationary, and expose the Russians. Those incompetent invaders have made themselves a laughingstock. Their arrogance, their lack of caution, their failure to secure the skies underscore the deep hatred Ukraine defends itself against an enemy that bombs villages, kills civilians, and is now caught in its own trap. After minutes of patient tracking, the Ukrainian operator receives the 3 magic words through his earpiece: Attack authorized. The command comes from the command center of the 383rd UAV Brigade, where high-ranking officers follow the live feed. It is not an easy decision. Each MAML missile costs $60,000, and the TB2 carries only 4. Hitting a cheap aluminum barge worth less than a used car seems like a financial waste. Furthermore, the strike would reveal that Ukraine has drone coverage this far south, alerting Russian air defenses. But the calculation changes when the heads are counted. It's not about the boat, but about an elite unit and its supplies. The value of wiping out these Russian saboteurs far outweighs the risk and cost a blow against the Kremlin that makes the Russian army look ridiculous. The operator prepares the attack run. The Tunets lies still, a static target like a gift. The TB2's autopilot receives new instructions. Interrupt patrol pattern. Take optimal launch angles. The drone turns left, beginning a wide arc along the coast. It's not just about aiming. The MAML needs a clean angle for maximum fragmentation and lethality. The Westcam camera with 15 times optical zoom brings the target so close that uniform details become visible. Most of the soldiers are huddled at the bow and in the sand to pass crates. They try to be fast, but their clustering only makes the missiles work easier. Through the zoom, the operator recognizes equipment tactical vests, modern helmets, assault rifles with optics, definitely not a delivery crew, but special forces or Marines intended for acts of sabotage. Here, the MAML comes into play. This Turkish smart micro-munition weighs only 23 kilograms, looking like a toy compared to large cruise missiles. But its 10-kilogram warhead penetrates light armor and turns aluminum structures into deadly fragments. It uses semi-active laser guidance the TB2 cannot fire and forget. The operator must hold the laser designator for the entire flight time. 8 kilometers away, the minimum range for a precise shot from this height means 41 seconds of stable flight. Suddenly, something changes on the screen. The soldiers on the beach stop passing crates. One waves to the shore, pointing at the tree line. Are they finished? Did they hear something? The operator performs a final check. Laser designator functional missile status. Green wind under 5 knots. Ideal conditions. He adjusts the crosshairs exactly over the mass between the engine and the sand. The laser rangefinder calculates lightning-fast 13.4 kilometers, still too far. The MAML can theoretically glide up to 14 kilometers, but accuracy drops beyond 8 kilometers. With troops near cover, there is no room for error. He must wait 11 kilometers, 10 kilometers. The drone advances. The Russians remain unsuspecting, this pathetic bunch of invaders who do not see their own humiliation coming. The operator notices more details: the boat's communication antennas, the white painted hull number, even how a soldier adjusts his rifle strap, everyday gestures that will become their last. His finger hovers over the trigger. At 8.5 kilometers, the shot zone is almost perfect, but something changes. The soldiers lift crates and scatter. If they enter the forest, the laser will lose them. The window is closing, whatever they are planning. With these supplies, it must end here. In the decisive moment, the TB2 operator pulls the trigger, but instead of a slight jolt, the screen flashes red. Warning: laser designator malfunction. His pulse shoots from 60 to 120. On the beach, the last Russian soldiers scatter. If they escape, the strike is lost. The operator does what works for both toasters and million-dollar military hardware: turn it off and on again. The system runs self-tests. The progress bar fills excruciatingly slowly, 5 seconds, 8 seconds. The Russians are already in the tall grass. Finally, laser operational. He repaints the target. Noticing something strange in the thermal view, the crates they are unloading so carefully have unusual, elongated, tubular shapes. The soldiers treat them like glass, no time for analysis. In 39 seconds, their contents will be scattered over the Kherson region. The MAML releases from the TB2's pylon fins deploy immediately. The semi-active seeker hunts for reflected laser energy from the boat hull. The missile falls silently at 250 meters per second. On the beach, ignorance still reigns. The operator watches as soldiers take breaks, light a cigarette, completely unaware that these are their last moments. The TB2's laser holds tight on the engine, the stabilized gimbal ensuring surgical precision. The range counter drops 5 kilometers, 4-3-15 seconds until impact. Suddenly, a sailor on deck points to the sky. Perhaps he saw the sun's reflection on the drone's hull or heard the whistling. The operator sees him screaming arms, waving frantically to his comrades on the beach. But physics does not negotiate at an approach speed of nearly 900 kilometers per hour. The warning comes 3 weeks too late. The thermal view shows panicked Russians in the sand scatter, throw themselves behind crates, lift Kalashnikovs to the sky as if 5.45mm bullets could stop a terminally descending missile. A bizarre scene. 2 soldiers, instead of seeking cover, desperately drag a long crate back into the water. Why risk their lives for a wooden box? 5 seconds. The TB2's camera zooms automatically, capturing every detail in 4K. Ukrainian intelligence officers at headquarters lean forward. These crates carry special markings. Not food, not ammunition. Something more dangerous. Impact. The MAML hits the center of the boat. The primary explosion tears the aluminum hull apart like foil. The shockwave vaporizes the 2 soldiers at the payload and hurls others to the tree line. But 1.3 seconds later, what matters more? No diesel explosions, no black oily smoke, white dense with blinding rays of light, even by day. Specialized demolition charges. Thermite. The boat was not carrying routine supplies, but a deep sabotage team. As flaming wreckage rains into the muddy water, the TB2 camera captures the final detail that makes analysts in Kyiv jump up a crate. Breaks open, revealing red-banded cylinders. Military explosives for the destruction of critical infrastructure. They wanted to blow up a bridge or a dam, an act of pure malice that only deepens the hatred. In Moscow, a general has a difficult morning ahead. Russian radio frequencies explode in screams. Then silence, no rescue helicopter, no support boat. The operation is aborted and real-time operational security outweighs the lives of 6 men burned on a forgotten shore. The TB2 operator watches the fire for another moment, sips his energy drink notes, and the log target neutralized. 6 months of elite training, millions of rubles in equipment, a perfect sabotage plan, all extinguished in 43 seconds by an operator in a chair hundreds of kilometers away. Welcome to modern warfare, where the Russian army, this overrated machinery of terror, is humiliated by Ukrainian cleverness. What do you think, dear listeners? Is this strike proof of the superiority of Ukrainian technology, or just the beginning of the end for the Russian invaders? Call our hotline at 0800-WARFIRE and share your opinion. Has the Russian army lost its aura through such failures, or will the hatred only grow? We want to hear your voices, your fears, your hopes. Join in, become part of this dramatic story. To increase the drama, let us dive deeper into the technical depths and highlight the Russian failure even more sharply. The Bayraktar TB2. This symbol of Ukrainian resistance is equipped with a payload of 4 MAML missiles each. A precision instrument of death that dismantles light targets like the pathetic KS-701. The Russian boat, with its thin aluminum skin only 7 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, driven by a simple diesel engine with 150 horsepower, was never built for war. It is a relic from Soviet times, refitted for desperate invasion attempts, a floating coffin for the soldiers the Kremlin sacrifices. The Ukrainians, with their TB2 wingspan, 12 meters maximum speed, 220 kilometers per hour, endurance up to 27 hours, dominate the sky, while the Russians crawl on the ground, unable to recognize their own mistakes. The hatred escalates every Russian defeat like this, reveals the corruption in their army, which wastes billions while Ukrainian heroes win with cleverness. Do you remember similar humiliations? In January 2026, reports of Russian losses are piling up: drone attacks, destroying convoys, sabotage acts that fail. The Kremlin is losing its footing. The MAML missile, with its 10-kilogram warhead, fragments upon impact into thousands of splinters that pierce flesh and shred dreams. The Russians, in their panic, fire with Kalashnikovs, AK-74 variants, 5.45mm ammunition, useless against a drone at 5,500 meters altitude. Their failure to establish air defense underscores the deep hatred Ukraine fights for freedom, Russia for tyranny, and every strike like this brings victory closer. The aftermath is gigantic. The viral video of the attack spreads worldwide, humiliates Putin, fuels international anger. Ukrainian analysts cheer over the revealed explosives. C4, like charges enough for a catastrophe. The Russian army, once feared, now seems like a joke. Losses of elite units, billions in equipment sunk in the mud. The operator back in his chair symbolizes the change war from a distance where Russian brutality loses to Ukrainian intelligence. Dear listeners, we are approaching the end of this epic narrative, but the questions burn. Will January 2026 go down in history as the month of Ukrainian triumphs or as the one that finally topples the Russian colossus? What is your prediction? Call us, share your thoughts, perhaps your words will save lives. Stay tuned, and remember, in times of hatred, truth is our weapon. See you soon, your voice on the airwaves. Let us review the preparation for the attack once more to emphasize Russian incompetence. The TB2 circles for 27 minutes, a silent guardian, while the Russians below unload their deadly cargo crates of explosives intended for the destruction of bridges or dams, acts of pure malice that only fuel the hatred. The soldiers in their modern helmets and vests look like sheep at the slaughterhouse, their movements sluggish, their